I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you want to introduce yourself to our audiences?
Certainly. First, let me just take a moment to thank both you and Emmett for taking the time and hosting this forum along with Planned Parenthood Texas folks. As so many people have said, it's critically important, particularly for this race, particularly for this seat, that we give the opportunity to the voters to hear from us. Unfortunately, given the timing of our election, there hasn't been a lot of opportunity to do that. So let me just start by thanking you guys for giving us that opportunity. In terms of a little bit about me, my wife Susanna and I have been residents of District 148 for 17 years now. We are the proud parents of a 12-year-old son, Finley James, and I'm a lawyer by day, but I've been passionate about Democratic politics and policies for as long as I can remember. I currently serve on the Houston Leadership Committee for Lambda Legal, and have also served for the past 5 years on the Board of Directors for Children at Risk, most recently as its chairman. That work's taken me to Austin on a number of occasions to advocate for a number of pieces of legislation and policy, including expanding access to health care for Texas women and children. I want to take that experience, that passion, and those skills to Austin to represent the residents of District 148 to fight for better education for our kids, to protect women's access to health care, particularly their reproductive rights, to enact common sense gun policy, and to fight for equality for all Texans.
So to open this, in what ways have you shown support for and been involved in the fight for expanded reproductive health care access here in Texas? And how have these issues impacted you personally, and how have those experiences really shaped your perspective that you bring into your leadership?
Sure, thanks, Emma. I think for all of us, with that fight for reproductive rights, that support of an organization like Planned Parenthood begins at the ballot box. We've got to go out, we've got to vote, we've got to support those candidates who are pro-choice, who are committed to going to whatever office they're going to hold and protect reproductive rights for women, to protect access to affordable health care. Those are the candidates that I support. Those are the candidates that I go block for. Those are the candidates I'll sit at a polling location all day for and encourage people to go vote for. Beyond that, we've certainly been involved with Planned Parenthood over the years and been fortunate to be able to support them in their mission. I'd also go back to my experience with Lambda Legal. Lambda Legal is an organization that is dedicated to securing and protecting equal rights for all members of our LGBTQ community. One piece of that is making sure members of that community have access to reproductive health care. That's one thing where Planned Parenthood provides such a great service, because that's an area where we know members of our LGBTQ community can go and get access to health care in a non-judgmental, non-discriminatory environment. Where Lambda Legal comes in is, of course, not all healthcare providers are like that. And so at Lambda Legal, what we've been able to do is when that discrimination does occur, we provide the lawyers to go in and fight against that. Whether it's a lesbian couple in California who've been denied access to infertility treatments, or a transgender man in New Jersey who was denied a hysterectomy. Those are the types of things that Lambda's been able to come in to do to kind of fight and support a lot of the mission of Planned Parenthood.
Thank you for that answer. Last question. So for Planned Parenthood Texas votes, we want to engage the communities that are most likely to be impacted by the attacks on reproductive health and rights, who are at the same time the least likely to be represented in the political process. The target audience for Planned Parenthood Texas votes reflects patients who receive care at Planned Parenthood health centers, mainly young women of color ages 18 to 35, who are primarily working class, uninsured and underinsured, and who have all sexual orientations. As the demographics of Texas become younger and more racially and ethnically diverse, how does your campaign plan to engage this important demographic, and how will you be a champion for young women of color in the LGBTQ community as their representative?
I think that goes to so much of everything we're talking about today, and it goes to engagement. As an elected official, as a state representative, it's incumbent upon me to go out into the community to speak with those people, to help them understand that I'm there for them in Austin. I'm going to be their ally. I'm going to be their fiercest representative for the issues that are near and dear to them. But we've got to make sure we've got those folks with access to be able to participate in the system. And we've got systemic issues out there that are designed so that the people we're talking about, women of color, people of that have economic disadvantage, they're designed to keep them out of the system. It's designed to keep them not to participate. So we've got to start with the census. We've got to make sure that those folks are counted. We've got to start with access to voting rights and make sure that it's easier for all members of our community to go out to be able to register to vote so that they can elect the officials that are going to allow them to have their voices represented in the state legislature. And that's what's going to help us flip the House in 2020 and be able to enact all the things that we're talking about when the Democrats finally regain a majority in the House of Representatives.
Thank you. 1 minute left. Emma, do you have any follow-up questions?
So the common thread, I think, in a lot of your responses have been the importance of bodily autonomy, just in general, with people's right to have their power over their own medical decisions. Can you think of any way, if elected, you'd be able to really maybe solidify that in a policy sense to ensure that all Texans have the ability and right to make their own medical decisions without governmental interference?
Well, I think we've got to start with defending that right. Because what we see in Austin so often is small pieces of legislation, often under the guise of religious liberty or some other false narrative, that are designed to erode those rights. And so the first thing for me is we've got to be a champion and prevent that legislation from seeing the light of day. And that's one of the things that Representative Farrar was so great at, and I think she's not credited for enough, was her ability to stop that legislation from seeing the floor. And that's a skill that I'm going to emulate in Austin. I'm going to know the rules better than anybody on the Hill. And I'm going to make sure that when legislation like that comes forward that attempts to further erode, whether it's reproductive rights or anything else, that legislation never sees the light of day.
Great. Thank you for that response.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.